That's true. You have to really believe in what you're doing,
Yes.
and that you're spreading joy around. And comedy's change. I know a lot of people won't darken the door of a college campus
Yeah.
for fear that something, if they say something making fun.
Yeah.
That being said, you have to have humor. If you tell somebody how to laugh when things are not going well, you got to do the same dang thing.
Yeah.
And you got to listen to your own show. Like my children would say, "Mommy, you need to listen to your speech." And
Well,
I'll say,
they say you have to read the room.
"Oh,
You have to read the
definitely,
room. And I remember once I was on a show, and the one of the comedians was doing a lot of political jokes, and I was like, this is not going to end well. Like, I can
no,
see one guy in the audience, he was getting really upset, and I can see his face turning red. And I had my mom with me at the show, and I turned to my mom and said, "This is about to be really bad."
yeah,
And sure enough, as soon as I said it, they started going back and forth at each other, the comedian on stage, the guy in the audience, and it was just not a good scene. So, I'm not the comedian that talks about politics. Like, it's just
yeah,
because you're always going to divide the room. You're always going
yeah,
to split the room. So, there was a young woman once, and I was, I really took and take seriously my role as a mentor to people, younger comedians.
mhm,
And I remember there was a sweet young woman doing comedy, and her opening joke was something along the lines that, "I know what you're thinking. She's too pretty to be doing this." And I pulled her to the side and I said, "Let me tell you something." I said, "Let me tell you something. I get where you're going with that." I said, "But what you did when you said that is you just alienated all the women in the audience."
yes, right,
I said, "You just made all the women just have a negative reaction to you right out the gate. And you
that's
don't
right,
want to do that." I said, I understood what she was going with the spirit of the joke. I said, maybe do that joke after you've established, because an audience decides within the first few seconds whether or not they like you. That's
that's
the
right,
thing you learn. If they know off the bat, like, okay, we like her, we're going to stick with this. When you get up there and say, "I know you think I'm too pretty to be doing this, girlfriend," half the women are going to be like, "I don't think you're that pretty."
yeah.
Bury
And
that joke
my
somewhere
date
in
better
the
not
middle.
think it either.
Huh?
And my date better not think it either.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So you put that joke somewhere in the middle, if at all, and so she received it well. But
Yeah,
yeah, and again, I'm thankfully in my 10th year of doing this. And
yeah,
those are things I had to learn,
right,
again, just slowing down. And that's what I love so much about humor and comedy and storytelling. You're in a constant state of learning. You're in a constant state of, how can I tweak this and make this better? You know what? I
right.
said it this way time, but it would be funnier if I said it another way. I think I was telling you the story. I tell this joke about going to Walmart to buy a ladder,
I love
and
that one.
right. And so when I first started doing a joke, I did it with one tagline on it. It got an okay laugh. I remember thinking, I'm going to try to flip it and see. I flipped it. It got such a big laugh. Guess what? That's what I go with now.
Oh,
But it's a
absolutely.
constant state. And then also being teachable, you
Yeah,
know, being teachable. If you see something in me that you think I can do better, and well, I love you like cook food. So if you tell me to do something, Jenkins Herlong tells me to do something, I do it.
oh
But
Lord,
if you see me doing something and you
yeah,
say, "You know what, Tara, I think it would be better if you did it that way," I value that. I value people who I trust giving me correction and
yeah,
direction. Because let me tell you this, I'm from a time when I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, where you were raised by committee. So, like, if we were outside, Miss So and so could tell you not to do something, even if your mother wasn't there. So
yeah.
I'm used to being raised by committee. So if someone says to me, "You know what, that wasn't kind of cool that you did that. I think you could do this better. You were wrong with this." I value that.